the typically injured former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, Carson Wentz. Now, I consider myself to be a professional in jinxology, and I know that a lot of Eagles fans jinxed Carson Wentz, which always happens with the Eagles fans. They get way too excited. Them talking about, oh, we're going to get 3 first-round draft picks, and then Carson Wentz gets injured. And I feel bad for Carson Wentz. I know that Eagles fans a lot of them are trash-talking Carson Wentz and kind of gloating about it, how much of a genius that Howie Roseman is for getting rid of Carson Wentz when he did, being so, you could say injury-prone, you could say brittle. But during the second practice for the Colts, your boy Carson Wentz, he injured his foot, some bone injury in his foot, and I feel bad for the guy because I like him. I wanted him to play so that we would get the draft pick. And because, you know, when you build up a specific kind of, not relationship, but when you want a guy to win so much, it's very hard to be like, no, I don't want him to win anymore because of the impact that it could have on my particular team. So he gets injured, and you know, they're looking at what the injury is going to be, what exactly is going on there, and they find out that he's got some particular bone injury where you can play on it, but you know, you want to fix it as soon as possible because it could cause more damage. Carson Wentz is a 6-year quarterback, and he's currently started his huge contract that the Colts will have to pay like $96 million of eventually. And the way that I see it, it's one of those things where, again, Carson wants to rehab it, but I don't think you should rehab it. I think that you should get surgery. And what they're saying is, with the surgery, he should come back week 5 or 6, which of course would take the Eagles out of getting that first round draft pick. They'll definitely probably get that second round draft. Oh, obviously, you know, it's either the first or the second because it's a conditional pick. But I don't think that would meet the 70% threshold if the Colts were to go to the playoffs. So I think that it would just be without that. But if you're looking at this man's career going forward, get the surgery. And someone could say, well, you're not Carson Wentz. You shouldn't be able to make decisions for Carson Wentz because that's HIPAA. Fake HIPAA. But, yeah, I think that he should get the surgery. I understand the standpoint of you can't make a decision for him because you don't know what the surgery is going to do to him, if it's going to limit him in the future. But here's the fact of the matter. This injury is going to limit him. I know he said, oh, you know, I felt a little tweak in my foot or something like that. This injury is going to limit him. And on principle, you can look back, on principle, it's better to get the surgery to a point where you're able to play during the season. When you come in like mid-season, which he would be coming in, at the very, what one would call the beginning of mid-season, and be able to play to the end of the season. Because what would happen if he comes back and he starts playing week 1. He obviously won't play during the preseason because the risk isn't worth the reward there, because preseason games don't really matter. Probably except for the on-the-bubble players. And Carson Wentz wouldn't be considered an on-the-bubble player. Well, if you play week 1 and you find that you injure it further, well, you're going to be out for the rest of the regular season. I mean, let's not complicate things there. That's a definite, a finite outcome. And who are you stuck with? Eason at quarterback, or Ellinger? Yeah, the former Texas quarterback. who, I would say I would be intrigued by that situation. But then they bring in Brett Hundley, the former Packer. It's in that situation, if those guys are playing on your team, you're done. You're done. You're probably going to win 4 or 5 games, and you won't make it to the playoffs. At least you'll have Carson Wentz at the end of this or the middle of the season to the point where you could possibly pick up wins that could get you into the playoffs. In this situation, if he gets injured at the beginning of the season and his injury gets worse, then you're screwed. And I remember, I called it with Deshaun Jackson in 2019, where he had at the very beginning it was a groin injury, or it was kind of like a midsection injury. And I remember thinking to myself, dude, because I watch and I subscribe to the Pro Football Doc, who was like, yeah, that sounds like a sports hernia, and you should probably get surgery. If you get surgery week 1, you could be back week 10. Well, Deshaun Jackson decided, no, I'm going to rehab the injury because I don't think it's that bad. And all Eagles fans remember, I remember Pepperidge Farm remembers, right? The whole, remember when Deshaun Jackson was supposed to be day-to-day or week-to-week? Pepperidge Farm remembers because it was week 2, and he barely played during the game because his injury was hurting him. His midsection was hurting him. And then after that, he was day-to-day, and then comes week 3, he's not ready. Week 4, he's not ready. Week 5, he's got dudes massaging his midsection and the areas close to his junk. And then week 8 or week 9, he comes back. He plays one play. He catches one ball. And then his ab comes right off the bone. And he should have gotten surgery. He didn't play for the rest of the season. And that injury was hampering him for really the rest of his career with the Eagles. Because it's a situation where he might have caused more problems for himself. Instead of going out there and getting surgery and doing what was best for the team, instead of really doing what was best for himself, because we all remember at the end of that season, we were stuck with no wide receivers. I get it. Deshaun Jackson, it's his body, it's his choice. It was a selfish choice, in my opinion, because he did more bad for the team than, and he did bad for himself, because, again, I don't think anyone wants your ab to go right off the bone. So that was a situation where he hurt himself and he hurt the team. So I would say for Carson Wentz, tread lightly, because we've already seen Carson Wentz have issues playing through injuries. That back injury in 2018 definitely limited him. And it's just a situation where I know that Carson Wentz wants to play. I know he's a gamer and he wants to be in there in every situation. But this is one of those situations where you're going to do more bad for your team than anything else. And I know that would do worse for my team because my team wouldn't get the first round draft pick. But you got to look after yourself in that situation to understand that if you get injured worse, then it's not going to be good for you.